What's going on, guys? It's your boy Chip, back at you from RVA Vapes, and today we're talking about the Puma Mod from our friends at Vapor Storm. Alright guys, today we're talking about the Vapor Storm Puma Mod. This guy is an interesting piece right here. So Vapor Storm's a newer company. Not a whole lot of information out about on them, but this is their second or third mod. Here's your instruction manual there, and you've got your caution about battery safety, so that's a cool little addition. And then your QC certificate right there. Comes with your micro USB and the mod itself. And this one is what they're calling their orange blue. One of the things you'll notice right off the bat about this is the hydro dipped finish. So each one of these guys is completely unique. Magnetic battery door on the back there. On here you can see the magnets. On here they're actually covered, so you don't have to worry about them coming out, which is a nice touch. And then you can see it's a dual 18650 device. So let's go ahead and pop some batteries in there. Now, because it's a polycarbonate, it's very, very light. This is probably one of the lightest mods that I can remember. And then puts our little battery flap down there. One battery, two battery. And you can see the screen lights up just like that. It's got a fairly big screen on it. I believe it's an OLED screen, so it's nice and bright. You can read it very easily. 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off. So the menu on this guy is pretty simple to use. If you hold the up and down buttons, it unlocks. You can see your little flashing power option there. So you just scroll over. You got nickel temperature control, stainless steel, and titanium. And you've got memory 1, memory 2, and your bypass mode. This also got a control current wattage mode where you can adjust your different points. So you can see when you lock it in there. You can see adjusting each one up. The wattage right there goes up and down. And you can see the little bar graph starting to jump up at you. Just press the fire button, switches over to the next one. These are half-second increments. You can probably hear it too on the screen. It's nice clicky buttons. And then if you hold the long press on the fire button, that jumps you back to your usable mode, if you will. And holding down the plus and minus button will give you back the adjustment opportunity. So you see it flashing there, you just tap the fire button and it opens you back up. So we'll just tap back over to where we were. Short taps get you jumping right on to the next spot there. And it runs all the way out to 5 seconds, which is cool. So that's how you set it up right there. And then long press, and you'll notice the number, the wattage up there goes away, and you've got your ramp set up right like that. And then if you want to get back into your menu options, you just hold plus and minus, see that start flashing, and then you can keep scrolling. And that puts us back to our regular power mode. Tap the fire button, and you're right back in there. You can see it scrolls very quickly, so that's a nice feature. You don't have to wait around. You do notice even in the power mode, you see that little temperature there. I'd like to see that go away in the variable wattage mode just so it doesn't confuse people, but you can see the giant W right there, so I don't think it's a huge issue. So you've got your battery indicators, your voltage output, your amp load, your resistance, and then the seconds or puff timer, if you will. Some people call it that. So it's a very nice readable screen, lots of good information on there. I just would like to see that temperature on the wattage go away. That would be one thing that I would say. So you can see in the different temperature settings, once you pick your temperature, you click it, it asks you what your power setting is that you want to set it at. Then you hit that, and then it asks you for your TCR value. So that's kind of cool. It makes you enter a TCR value even though it's preset. So if you want to adjust it, you can. And then once you got it all locked in, you just long press, and that holds it right there. You can see the wattage down there. You can see your temperature, and I believe if you round robin it, yeah, It stops at the top or the bottom, and then you click past it and it switches from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So jumping back in here, oh, you can see in the resistance is flashing too. So once we put a device on here, that should lock the resistance. Once we put a tank on here, that should lock the resistance in, and you'll no longer see that flashing. So that's the whole menu for the VaporStorm Puma. Very simple user interface, very easy to use, which is a good thing. Feature rich though. It's got all the features that we would look for in a typical vaping device these days. And definitely has a super cool look to it. As you can see, the footprint of it is not huge, even though it's a dual battery. It's very similar size-wise to like an Asmodus Minikin, but with this polycarbonate finish to it, or I should say polycarbonate facing or construction, it's got a nice feel. It's not smooth, but it's not like sandpaper, so it's kind of in between. And then obviously the hydro dipped coating gives you all sorts of different color variations that are super cool. And the clicky buttons are a huge plus. I know a lot of people like clicky buttons out there. I hope you can hear that. It's fairly loud. It's got a nice stainless steel 510 with a gold-plated spring-loaded pin in there. You know, when you take the battery door off, you can see it's got your pull tab, which is nice, and then your sled in there for the batteries. It's got nice springy contacts on it, but they don't seem like they're so stiff that they're going to dent the batteries in, which I know was one of the issues that the Minikins did have. You can see it's got little grooves here that actually slide right in there so that it will hold the door fairly securely. It's a very simple user interface, and it's not a lot of clicking and going back and forth and setting stuff. So I think that's pretty much it for the up close. Now let's jump up top and have a vape and talk about it. So, now that you've seen a nice up-close look at it, we're going to pull it back, talk about it. So, the chipset itself has all of your over voltage protection, over power protection, over charging. You can even charge it through the little micro USB here. Not necessarily recommended, but it is possible in a pinch. Short circuit protection, over current protection, over discharge of your batteries. It does have a temperature protection built into the board so it won't overheat, and the low power protection, which low battery obviously. You know, you can see the 5/10 put up close to the front there, so I think about 25 millimeter tanks is probably the most. That's what this is. Anything bigger than that's going to overhang on the front there. So for size comparison, we're going to put it up next to the GTRS, and you can see it's definitely shorter. Width is probably about the same, give or take. It does have a little bit more front to back, obviously, but overall it's a nice in the hand feel. Again, with that polycarbonate construction, it's super lightweight. This thing feels like there's nothing in it, which is nice, definitely. So the measurements you're looking at are 80.7 millimeters this way. They're saying across this face here you're looking at 40.3 millimeters. Overall, it's got a really nice look to it. You know, the hydro dipped finishes come in 5 different colors, and I'm gonna throw those up right meow. We're gonna talk about the screen for a second here. You can see it's a nice bright OLED screen, and you've got all the cool information, your voltage output that is in real time, you can see there. Now, I did confirm that the stainless steel temperature is set up for 316 stainless steel, so any of you guys out there that use the 316L or 317, you're probably going to want to adjust that TCR value just a little bit, but your standard 316 will work fine right out the box. We don't do a ton of temperature protection or temperature control testing here at RVA Vapes. It's not a huge demand for us here, but please leave comments if that's something you guys are interested in, and I can get some information on that stuff as well. Even if I have to go buy the equipment, you know, I'd rather give you guys what you're looking for specifically. So the other thing I found out about this guy is that in that bypass mode, it'll actually go up to 230 watts. So for anybody that likes running the bypass mode on your drippers and things like that, want more of that mechanical feel without obviously the safety risks that are involved there, this would be an excellent choice to run in the bypass mode. Getting that extra 30 watts will definitely give you a little extra oomph for your money, if you will. We've talked about the finish, we've talked about the screen. Now I want to talk about the chipset for a second. And the reason, because being a less expensive device, I was kind of surprised, honestly, at the speed in which the chip ramps up. I don't know if you can hear that. Even before the click is finished, you can hear it start to fire up. You know, the coil I've gotten here is a 0.4 right now, so it's a little bit higher resistance, which can obviously help that. But even with the 0.2s and the mesh and stuff that I've tested on here, it's still a super fast ramp up. So I'm not sure what they're calling this chipset, but everything that I've put on it allows it to fire very rapidly, and that's a huge bonus. Anybody looking for that quicker ramp up or that has delay issues with their current setups, definitely take a look at this guy. It's a super quick chipset as far as the ramp up goes. So we've been through all the different temperature modes. I've showed you guys the colors. It's got the charging board features, and we've been over all that stuff, the screen, the chipset. I don't know that there's a whole lot more information I have about this, but I just want to give you guys my take on it, if you will, the pros and cons segment of this feature. And we're going to break it down to the fit and finish on it. Being that it's polycarb, I expected it to be a little more flimsy, but it's actually got a really good construction to it. You've got 8 different anchor points between the casing or the outside and the battery door and the chip. Plus there's an extra 2 screws on the inner. So you've got a good design construction wise. The polycarb finish gives it a nice light feel in the hand. It's got a good kind of grippy feel to it, if you will. And they've even kind of embossed vape on the side here. So that's an extra grip added to it as well. The colors are awesome. I love the color finishes on this thing. I'm kind of partial to that blue one personally, but you can't go wrong with any of them. Depending on what colors you like, they've got something for you. So that's awesome. The lightness, obviously, super lightweight. The chipset ramps up really fast. A couple of nitpicky little things you can see in the wattage mode there. You still see the temperature. That kind of bugs me just a little bit. The user interface on the menu is awesome. It's super simple to use to get through your different things. If you want to use the CCW mode so you can build your own power curve in there, that's super simple to use. There's really not much bad I can say about this device. The price point's amazing, the performance is great, and it feels good in the hand. And if you just want something that's super cool looking, that works, I would definitely recommend the Puma Mod from our friends at Vaporstorm. So this is the part where we throw up our little coupon code right across the bottom here, and you can get yours for 10% off with the code PUMA10, and that's at shop.rvavapes.com. There's not much else we can say about this Puma Mod other than if you want one, go get one. Now remember, guys, if you want to smoke, that's your business. If you don't, you know where we're at.